Every day, we're surrounded by stimuli. The honk of a car horn, the buzz of a phone, the sudden touch on the shoulder. And whether we realize it or not, each of these triggers a reaction. Sometimes it's automatic. Our heart skips a beat. We flinch, we smile. Other times, it's shaped by who we are and what we've been through. Two people can face the same moment and walk away with completely different feelings. One anxious, the other inspired. That's the mystery of human response. We're not machines programmed with one outcome. We're storytellers, filtering every sound, sight, and sensation through memory, emotion, and culture. Stimuli may strike the same note, but the song we play is always unique. So today we're asking, why do we react the way we do? And more importantly, what do our reactions say about us?
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Jason.
Hello, everyone.
And Stoney.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh.
Well, things were going good today,
Uh-oh.
but I think the air conditioning in my car is fixing to crap out on me. So,
Oh, no.
yeah, I'm probably... this is probably going to make me just go buy a new car because I'm at that point with it. I mean, the car is now over 11 years old.
I was going to make a throw the baby out with the bathwater joke, but I was like, no, you've had the car long
I've had it a
enough.
long time. So I've just not wanting to buy a new car.
No, right.
I just hate that whole experience.
Yes.
Because it's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always feel like I'm walking away, I'm getting screwed over, and I am.
Right.
You just are.
Well, anytime you buy a new car, you're basically getting screwed over because the minute you drive it off the lot, you lose 33% of the value of the vehicle. So you just got screwed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But the only thing is, I keep cars for a long time.
Right.
And that's why I've always bought new, because I just knew I was going to keep that car for a while. So I'd rather it have 0 miles than 25 or 35,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And
You know all the things that have gone on it.
Exactly. So, it's back and forth. This might be the year I actually look at a certified used vehicle.
There you go.
Okay.
So there's I'm really high on the Genesis line.
Okay.
And I actually, Tracy and I went and test drove some vehicles. I think was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? Maybe last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I drove that. I drove the Genesis GV80, which is a fine automobile.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie
Genesis,
to you.
or I've been inside whatever their like sedan one is, kind of their more, I think, midline one.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, the GV80s are like top. And you know what I like about it? It's got a V8 engine in it.
Oh, there we go.
They have a V8 engine in them. It's a 3.5 turbo, so it gets up and goes.
You hear Jason? He goes. He retires. He gets a V8. He's now engaged.
Yeah.
But a V8 with a 3.5?
Yeah, it's a 3.5 turbo.
Well, V8s are usually 5.3,
Yeah, but not
5.7.
Well, that's a.
What is it? What is it? Little itty bitty valves?
Genesis is like a kind of like a luxury brand. So I don't think
it's a luxury
for
line.
sport.
It's the luxury line of Hyundai, just like Lexus with Toyota. And,
Right.
Infiniti with Nissan. It's kind of the same thing, but. The problem is, you go look at they're putting nothing but four cylinders now in cars. The car I have now is a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
It's
all
a
fuel
2.0
stuff,
turbo, and I guess they're trying to meet these fuel efficiency numbers, and they're all going to 4 cylinders. I was disappointed because I was really looking at the Toyota 4Runner as a potential vehicle. It's going to 4-cylinder, which is just disappointing. I have no idea why they dropped the V6, but they're going to a 4-cylinder. So I don't know. we'll see. I really would like to wait toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because that's the best time to buy cars. Than trying to deal with that right now. But we'll see.
I got a buddy. We can call him up. Maybe we can get a deal on getting your AC fixed. How about that?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
That's one thing around here. It gets hot enough around here where, like, I know in certain probably parts of the world, like AC is kind of a luxury and you probably don't need AC a lot. But around here, during certain parts of the year, I feel like it's unbearable and it's almost dangerous. So
I agree, but I think we're also spoiled a little bit.
I think
because we did the same jobs, a lot of the same jobs before there was air conditioning, and people actually dressed in suits and ties to go back and forth to work there.
Exactly. I think about how people look back in those photos, and it's like,
I'm old enough to remember in the house the attic fan.
Yeah.
And you had this big fan in the hallway.
Yeah.
And when you wanted it to get cool, you just cracked all the windows 2 inches. And that's part of how the AC
houses
works.
Were built different. I was watching a video recently about that, about how structures were created to open the front and back doors, and then
that was the old shotgun houses, and the way the wind blew through there.
Right, and it's like things like that, and how
you cracked the little windows there, and as it went through the long hallway, it sucked the air through that and made the rooms cooler.
Certain parts of the day, everything would shut down during the hottest part of the afternoon, because everyone would go inside for a while because it was, and then would open back up in the early evening. And I was like, man. So yeah, I think it's a product of the time. But I think for me personally, I've been in a vehicle that has not had AC in the hottest part of the summer, and I was like, I'm gonna pass out.
Can you imagine being the first person in your town with air conditioning in your car? Oh
gosh, you got to be,
or your house,
a big man on campus.
Yeah, it's.
But I feel like this is a great segue into
how do you react to certain stimuli in your life?
Hey, go buy a new car. That's how that's what you do.
That's the one thing I have said. I have bought used cars time and time again throughout my adult life, and the one thing that I always will say is it can as long as it can drive on its own power and has working AC in this area we live in, I'm fine. It
so
can be
your AC goes out. How do you react?
I get a bit irate because I'm like, I can't. That's one of those things where I have gotten. I'm privileged and I know that, and I'm not saying I'm not. But the second the AC goes out, I'm like, oh heavens no, I can't do that.
It just literally it just happened today. It was fine yesterday. I've been having problems with it, and just. Today I got in the car and realized it's not doing. The last time I had this problem, I had a hole in the hose there, and that got fixed, and it was working just fine. So I don't know what's going on. It maybe it's just starting to crap out on me. I mean, it could be.
That's the hard part.
The car is, when car gets 11, 12 years old. I mean, it's just. They're not meant to.
Yeah, things are bound to happen. Yeah.
Things are going to happen. I mean, so
and that's the hard part with AC. It could be a hose, or it could be the whole.
Well, it could be a compressor, right? And that's a lot of money. I get that. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now. But today I had an electrician come to the house and was doing some work, some stuff that I've been needing to get done. Not everything got done yet because he's got to bring some additional some equipment. I've got a couple things got some fixtures that have no power to them right now, and I don't know what the issue is right now. He was a bit kind of perplexed.
I have the same issue with light switches in this house.
I don't know if there's if there's a break in the wire somewhere or something's going on, but. I'm trying to get some of all this stuff kind of done.
Sounds like you're falling apart after your retirement, actually.
I'm telling you.
No, I think I think it's more so the fact that he's realizing the little things that were like, oh, it's no big deal. But now that he's got someone else in the house.
Well, and just also from a future standpoint of, eventually, Tracy and I will probably be looking for somewhere else, and trying to get the house to a position where
you can sell.
I'll have less stuff coming up on the inspection report if I choose to sell. I may rent it.
Okay,
I may rent the house. So I haven't. That's not been decided yet. What I'm going to do yet, but I mean, some of this stuff has to get fixed. I mean, you got to get all these outlets working and making sure, that kind of stuff is done. So I was busy today with that. I went out, ran, got my 5 miles in this morning and came home. Literally when I got home, the electrician showed up like 15 minutes later. So it's been busy today.
Yeah,
really hadn't had time to do much of anything.
And we're also, a little spoiler, we're recording this on Labor Day.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, I had nothing really to do because I'm technically off. So I was, except for this.
Yeah.
It's been
nice. I've enjoyed it. I love a day off during the week. I really do. I really kind of wish that I had a Monday or a Friday off.
Yeah. The current place I'm employed, I have off on Mondays, and it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that day off during the week helps.
Yeah.
Because you can get a lot of stuff done.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Saturday, it's...
There's nothing that you need is going to be open.
Yeah, that's the problem. And so, I'm dealing with all that right now. But, whatever. We'll get it done. We will get it done. What about y'all?
So far this weekend, I was able to go and hang out with a bunch of friends and just kind of... Obviously, everyone was having a long weekend. It's the start of the football season, so everyone's doing something,
right?
So everyone had some sort of get together or some sort of party or whatever. So I was just, popping in at all the places, saying hello to everyone because everyone's having their fun on the long weekend, right. And it was really good. It was really a great opportunity just to kind of unwind a little bit and get out of my comfort zone. A lot of times, as a more introverted person, I find myself getting cooped up a lot. And so it was nice to kind of just get out of there and talk to a bunch of people and hang out and have some fun and listen to some live music. I'm always a big fan of live music, and there's some friends and some people that are like, hey, we should start a band, and I'm like, for the right price, well, we could definitely do it. and people are like, well, we got money now, and so I was like, okay, now let's sit down and talk. So there may be something fun happening in the works. I don't know. So that was a bunch of that happened this weekend, so it was really good.
What kind of a band?
I'm not sure yet. I think that's one of those things we'll probably talk about as it comes to fruition. But the conversation, which makes me feel proud as a musician and as a person a lot, is the conversations that group of friends were having. They were like, we were talking about doing this. We're talking about who the right people would be for this, and your name came up a lot as a bass player. And that's what I play primarily. Or what I've played professionally, really. And so that obviously makes you feel really good. It's like whenever people are talking in that sphere and they're like, and your name's always brought up, or it was brought up a lot by different people, you're like, that feels pretty nice. That's, so that was, that was the beginning of that. So whenever I popped into the conversation, they're like, oh, we were talking about you and we want you to be a part of this thing. So
as long as you can make money doing it.
And that's what I tell them. I hate to say that, but like
it's hard.
With that group of friends, I don't have to make a crazy amount of money to have fun with them and to do that. But for the amount of effort they want me to put into it and the amount of time and kind of dedication, it would kind of, you
would want some return on your investment,
for some of that stuff. So, and that's something for me as an artist that has done music and has done graphic design and photography. I've balanced that out throughout my whole career so far.
But you said they were making money, so it sounds like an already somewhat established band.
I think what they're saying is that they have money. They have investors that are willing to put money down to like, set up a few gigs and to have like the payment already. So we're not worrying about all that stuff. And so there's a few venues that want us there, that kind of stuff. It's a lot of they've done the logistic work behind the scenes to like get people interested in us as a group. And so I was like, hey, that is a further step in that conversation than I've had with anybody else before. It's always been like, oh, this is a cool idea. And then it goes nowhere. Whereas this is more, they're being really proactive. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'll consider it. Yeah. So that's something as far as a reaction from me.
If it's something,
I enjoy it.
It seems exciting and you obviously enjoy that. So, if it's no, other than your time.
Right.
I guess it just depends on how much time you want to devote to that.
If we're keeping this in line with the theme of this episode, there's nothing I love more than playing music, especially playing music to a group of people or a crowd of people. I just love that feeling. I love being on stage. I love performing. I love playing music. I love seeing people getting engaged in music. It's just it's something that brings me so much joy.
Oh,
and
good.
So I've been able to do like little odd jobs here and there. And this may be a little bit more involved. It may just be a season. Who knows? But like I said, it's a cool.
What's that reaction that I liked as a chef type person?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I used to have something called the guinea pig list. And at one time there was like 200 plus people on this mass text.
Oh yeah.
And I would text this mass text and say, okay, I'm trying out a new recipe on this. And the first 12 people that respond to this text for this date at this time get a seat at the table. And you never know who you could be sitting next to, a politician,
100%.
a mobster, a police officer, a construction worker, a librarian. These were just people in my life that loved my food, loved
Regular
conversation. People. Just, you never know who you were going to sit down with. And you got a free meal. But right next to the plate was a survey. And that was the thing. You had to fill the survey out on the food.
Right.
What you liked, what you didn't like, then blah, 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 blah. And then 30 days later, that guaranteed you a seat back at the table with those same people to try the new tweaked out version of whatever it was. Because then really I would spend the next month and tweak it, try it.
Right.
And you never knew. But there's a moment. You know, we're talking about stimuli and reactions to certain things. As a chef cook type person, all of a sudden you have all these fantastic people from your life sitting there that don't know each other, may know each other, and talking and chatter and banter back and forth. And all of a sudden there's this one moment when there's no conversation.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's pushing a little bit of food with their knife on their fork or something, and it's just quiet. And you know you did it right.
Yep.
You know
when people aren't talking.
Oh yeah.
And it's fascinating. And that's, so when we're doing this about, reactions and things like that, that's the reaction you want to your food.
Oh yeah.
People having a good time and enjoying life. And trying some good food.
In that same vein, I've always loved, I like cooking for smaller groups, friends and family and things like that. And whenever I really work on making this meal, I'm not any kind of crazy chef by any means, but I try my best to make something that's really nice. And I tell you what, there's nothing I love more than when someone like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. And then takes that first bite and they go,
I heard you make chocolate chip cookies, but I don't have any evidence of that. Have you?
Maybe this fall.
Yeah.
I heard there's some really good chocolate chip cookies or something.
It may be a little time for us to have some chocolate chip cookies.
The funny thing is, I had a conversation yesterday about this. I have a friend of mine who is a baker and is like she makes sourdough and all kinds of other sourdough type things and bakes and all sorts of stuff. And she was like, I need another one of those batches of cookies just so I can like try them again and kind of get the word around. So like I think this in the next coming months I'm going to make some.
I would this is a proposition I have for you. Okay. If you make a batch for Stoney and I.
Okay.
I will go and get us some elephant poop coffee, and we'll have some elephant poop coffee at the same time we're eating some of these wonderful chocolate chip cookies. Man.
I don't feel like that's a return on investment, but like for you at least, like with the amount of money you're putting into that versus what you're getting out of it. I think the cookies are good, but okay, that's definitely, that makes me feel special that you think so highly of them.
What made me think that was I was looking at my cart on Amazon, and it's there it is. It's the elephant poop coffee right there. So
one of my idols, she's a chef from the California area. Her name is Dominique Corinne, and she has a quote: "If we all took the time to appreciate food and the company of others, the world would be a better place."
100%. I agree with that.
Think about that.
I agree.
I think also there's something magical that happens at the table with food and drink. As a person who is a Christian, like obviously there's a big deal with communion and that whole aspect too, and always things always happening around a dinner table of some kind. I just think there's something so inherently human and something so spiritual and and emotional, and like there's something special that happens when you get people around a table with food and drink and things
and
like
music
that. And music as well.
I've said for years and years and years that food and music is a true universal language, because you can have people from different races, different cultures, different anything, and if the food's good and the music sounds nice, everybody's going to be calm and relax and enjoy it. And you can still have a conversation with your smile about how good the food is, or how you're reacting, a little jam into the music or whatever. And again, that comes into frequency and how many, but it's a reaction too. Trying to bring this, and stay into the realm of, today, of what the topic is. And I'll throw into this. I did this thing, what is your reaction to stimuli is kind of the topic of today. Well, what counts as stimuli? You have three types: external, internal, and socio-symbolic. And I probably said that wrong. I don't give a shit. Sue me. What is external? Sight, sounds, touch, heat, and other people's words or faces. What is internal? Thoughts, memories, and body sensations, heartbeat, hunger, and pain. And social, status cues, rules, beliefs, values, and identity signals. So we're reacting to all of these things. This is where our reactions come from.
Well, I've got some stuff here from a generational perspective on how different generations have kind of how they react to certain things. And I found this somewhat interesting here. They say baby boomers, of course, some of the things they're shaped by is their post-war stability, television as the dominant medium, and face-to-face interaction. They're more attuned to direct physical stimuli, tone of voice, body language, in-person conflict. Studies have shown boomers tend to have stronger physiological stress responses to confrontation, but less sensitivity to constant digital interruption. So some examples of that would be a buzzing phone might be seen as an annoyance, not a crisis, but a public disagreement or a raised voice can trigger a sharper emotional response.
That's interesting.
Generation X, the transition from analog to digital, the rise of personal computers, and a culture of independence. Typical reactions often a blend. They can adapt to digital stimuli, but still respond strongly to traditional in-person cues. They report moderate stress from multitasking, though less than younger generations. So here's some examples of that. An overload of email notifications may frustrate them, but they're more likely than boomers to take it in stride and less likely than millennials to feel overwhelmed. Millennials, internet boom, social media, 24/7 connectivity, highly responsive to social stimuli, especially digital ones. The research shows higher rates of anxiety and stress to the constant flow of notifications and online comparisons. The brains tend to anticipate digital signals, showing dopamine responses to pings, likes, and messages. An example of that, a phone vibrating on the table can spark instant attention, even anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the constant pressure to respond.
Well, that's what we do. I agree with that 100%. We just, 2 weeks ago, the show was The Instant World. Everything's instant. That dopamine, everything. Bam, I got to have it now. Bam, bam, bam. Whereas a boomer like me, I don't care. If the phone beeps, I don't have to go run for it. If I look at it like this, back in the day before you had all of this stuff, if the phone rang and you didn't get it, what did you say? What was my reaction to it? Well, if it's important enough, they'll call me back. But now, as soon as that, you look at that, and you can look on TikTok and all these videos of the phone beeping, and they're messing with you, doing it on purpose just to get the reaction because you're turning your head. It was it's crazy. It's part of this this dopamine instant world. Jason, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just.
It just made me think about that was what the whole show was 2 weeks ago about that instant response.
Yep.
That's what we want. That's an instant response to that stimuli.
Generation Z, they're shaped by smartphones, TikTok, global crisis, and hyper-connected digital world. They're extremely sensitive to fast-paced, bite-sized stimuli. Gen Z reports higher stress levels from online interactions, cyberbullying, and the information overload. They're also quicker to adapt to visual and auditory multitasking, like scrolling while streaming music. Just some examples. Silence, no notifications, no updates can actually be more stressful than constant buzzing. They're wired for stimulation. But
well, what did they say when what was it? Not Facebook before that.
MySpace.
MySpace. There was a neurosis that was generated, or where they defined a neurosis of the selfie people.
Right.
These women and some men that would take so many selfies and post them because that was how they defined themselves. And they're just the reactions, like you said, to like somebody asked me the other day, it's one of our listeners, and we were just having a conversation, and we love it when we get responses and reviews of the show. I love that. I love reading them on and letting everybody hear it. They said, have y'all gotten any bad ones? Yeah, we get a couple where some people say some stuff. How do you, and their word was, how do you react? Or how do you sleep at night knowing that somebody could give you a bad review on the show? And I said, that's simple. I sleep with no underwear. Yeah. And they were like, what? I said, yeah, so they can kiss my ass. That's how I sleep at night. Because I love that, and I would hate the fact that we said, I don't want to offend anybody, but not everybody's always going to agree with me.
100%.
But sometimes we're too open and too free in our ugly reactions 100%. And reviews.
There has been people that have commented on this show about me specifically, about like that they don't want me a part of this show. And it's like, I'm glad that you feel that way. But guess what? I'm not going nowhere.
Right.
So either you can stop listening, or you can just...
We're whole or not.
Or you can just not agree with my perspective. Yeah. That's okay. We have two other perspectives.
That's right.
That's the whole part of the show.
That's part of what was in that conversation was 1 week you might agree with me, and 100%. 1 week you might not.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I still sleep with no underwear. In the weeks you don't like it, kiss my ass.
Oh, you going commando?
Uh-oh. Well, yeah. But anyways.
It's real. I think we're all perfectionists on this show. I think we all want to put out a good show, but not everybody's always going to agree with us, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that because we're still going to do what we do. It's like that lady that wrote in about the gaming. Mm-hmm. Oh, I hate gaming because of my husband and my boys, but she listened to the show and wound up with a whole new perspective about gaming, went to her husband and boys differently, and then they started treating her different.
Right.
In a positive fashion was the way that review went. I love that because, you might not agree or you may not like it, but can you benefit from it? Mm-hmm. And that's, to me,
well, I think also, too, if those are the kind of people, too, that will really vocalize that they don't like a certain person and they're okay with hiding behind their anonymity, and they're going to be that mean and that ugly about it.
Called internet balls.
Well,
some people have some massive internet balls.
Not even that, because I think it's coward. That's
what I'm talking about. Because they're on the internet and you can't get to them, they got great internet balls.
What I'm trying to say is that if that's the kind of people that are hanging around and that feel the need to comment and say something like that, and if my presence here makes you so upset that you want to leave, then that's good, I think, because I don't want people like that on the show. I don't want. Yes, I think every listener is a good listener, but at a certain point, if that's the way you feel about it, don't listen to the show. Mm-hmm. Especially if you feel the need to hide behind your anonymity and say some very mean things about me personally or about any of the other hosts of this show. Mm-hmm. Don't listen, please. I
still want them to listen because there are two other people. And that's what this show about is the differences.
Right.
they're not going to like you for a certain reason,
right?
Where they might like me, but there's going to be other people who don't like me for certain reasons that are going to love you.
Correct. And all I'm saying is that if my presence here makes you that upset that you have to say something about it, then that's where I think I draw that line. Where I'm like, it's okay. I don't need you here, respectfully. But yeah.
Well, I had one more generation to really talk about real quick. It's called now, the first time I've heard this, Generation Alpha. Okay, I haven't heard this
they're
new
after
class.
Z. Yes, they're the ones after Z.
So these are people born after 2013.
Goodness gracious.
And they're basically shaped by AI, voice assistants, immersive technology. They said the studies are right now still early, but they're highly responsive to interactive, gamified stimuli and may have shorter attention spans. Their reactions are conditioned by immediate feedback loops in digital learning and entertainment. They say a delayed response, like waiting more than a few seconds for a video to load, can spark frustration faster than any previous generation. So I could see that, because as the tech has just gotten faster and faster and faster, and how quickly information can come back,
right?
I can see people that have grown up in a world of just getting that all the time. I could see then, yeah, it's slow. For us, for people that either had to read books or take time to let things come, it doesn't bother us nearly as much. So, that's just kind of that's kind of interesting here. I see baby boomers here say, talk about equating phone separation with anxiety. Say a striking contrast to younger generations. Only 35% of boomers feel anxious when they're without their phones, while 44% disagree.
Yeah, see, I could walk away from my phone and never have a problem with that.
It's a coping styles. Boomers favor physical activity to manage stress and are less likely to bed rot compared to Gen Z, 7% to 24%. And then, of course, boomers often see themselves as mentally stronger and downplay the need to talk about emotional struggles. We've all heard that. 74% perceive their generation's mental health as significantly better.
Wait, do that again?
74% of boomers perceive their generation's mental health as significantly better.
Absolutely agree. All you got to do is look at the videos that are on TikTok and Instagram and everything else, where you tell one of these kids today no, and they're and screaming and hollering and trying to punch police officers, and just ridiculous. Yeah, no, ours is stronger.
Yeah, Generation X here is showing 45% of Gen Xers feel anxious without their phones, compared to 53% of millennials and just 35% of boomers. Communications, a growing preference for text-based communication over calls. This phone anxiety is also shared with millennials and Gen Z. For millennials, attachment to devices, 63% of millennials say they feel attached to their phones or tablets, double the rate for other adults. 70% report anxiety when separated from their devices. And then self-awareness about misuse. 58% believe anxiety is the main side effect of compulsive phone use. 43% won't go to the bathroom without their smartphones. And 20% say their phone disrupts sleep.
Oh, that is true.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. And all you have to do is look at the young people today and just the reactions. I remember a couple of times when I've had to take away Miranda's son's phone.
Right.
He loses his mind. They've equated this electronics addiction to being addicted to heroin.
Oh, yeah, by the dopamine.
The exact same thing. And the responses, how it is, even the withdrawal symptoms.
Right.
What, the first time you try heroin, you're addicted for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Some of these young people today are so addicted to the phone that it's ridiculous. They can't. Their withdrawals and her son, my stepson, would literally go crazy. But then you watch the videos on YouTube and other platforms like that where you take it away, and these young kids, there was a 15-year-old boy, his mom took away his phone, and he completely destroyed the apartment that they lived in, the walls, everything. He smashed everything because that phone got taken away from him. They haven't heard the word no.
Well, yeah.
And
it's Gen Z. I'm going to read it. It's a mental health vulnerability. Only 45% report good or excellent mental health. 91% experience depression or anxiety symptoms, with stress often tied to societal issues like gun violence or political instability. Over half of Gen Z and millennials struggle to limit their screen time. Concerns about digital activity harming their physical and psychological well-being are higher in these groups compared to older consumers. And then a predilection for messaging. 59% prefer emails or instant messages over phone calls. And 50% feel uncomfortable making business calls. A clear generational divide. And say in the UK, 30% of younger workers, 21 to 34, say increased work notifications impact their ability to spend quality time with loved ones. Many report anxiety from alerts as intense as that caused by spiders or the dentist.
Really?
Wow. Wow.
So
that's impressive.
And then, of course, the new generation alpha, that's a lot of that research is still early. So it's kind of hard to really kind of make any.
Well, those born after 2013, you said, I think that's putting them at 10. Well, it's probably like 12 years old and younger.
Yeah. Well, they were born after 2013.
Yeah. So I think that would put the oldest in that bracket at 12. So, I mean, that's still pretty young, but I guess it's still young enough to get data for some stuff, but not like in an adult sense, I think. Which I'm scared and fascinated to see what is going to play out in that generation in the future.
Well, I just think as the tech gets more and more kind of integrated in our lives, I basically people are going to have implants, in their heads to basically get instant information. I mean, I know that sounds like crazy talk, but I kind of see that going that way. I mean, the tech is getting smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a far fetch for me to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's just coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think people are going to be very heavily reliant on their selection of LLM, like their ChatGPT, their Grok, their whatever the heck they use. It's already in the older generations, and like myself and X generation, there's people that have a heavy reliance on that stuff now, and I worry for the future as to what that usage of that's going to be. So, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what the long term effects of this. What we're building right now. What will be the long term effects of this? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's.
I hope that we can get to a point.
I'm not doom and gloom. I'm not afraid of tech. I've never been one of these people to be like. I think tech has helped us. I think it's a tool.
Yeah.
But like anything, it can be abused, and there are effects that we really don't understand how it affects the brain and anything like that. So,
well, I think part of it is there's a reaction pipeline. We're talking about reactions to certain stimuli, and part of that is this pipeline that I found. It's called sensation, perception, appraisal, emotion, action tendency, and behavior. And so the sensation is just basically the raw input that hits the senses or arises from inside the body and mind. Perception now is how the brain organizes it. What is this? That's attention, pattern organization, things like that. Appraisal, meaning making. Fast automatic judgments. Is this good? Is this bad? Is this threat? Is this a challenge? And how is this relevant to my goals? And then once you get through all that, you get to the emotion, coordinated changes in the body and mind, arousal, feelings, facial expressions. And then your action tendencies, your built-in urges, approach, avoid, freeze, or appease. And then your behavior is now the visible response, your word, your choices, your actions, and these are shaped by habits, skills, and context. So, I mean, when you look at it, that's when you're going through that reaction, you're kind of going through all of those phases to get to your reaction. Mm-hmm. But sometimes in some people, it's just very instantaneous.
Right.
And that's, wow. Mm-hmm. Just for how many reactions a day? Didn't we have this on a show where we talked about how many decisions or choices we make a day? And it was like 33,000.
Right. I guess however they measure that,
mm-hmm. And then there's so many other things that make up how we make this reaction to a certain stimuli. And it's what makes people so different. And it's the makeup, the biological and trait level, your temperament, your genetics, the neurochemistry and the hormones running through your body. Where a 45-year-old man is going to react different than a 13 or 14-year-old boy who's got all these new hormones coursing through it. Your psychology and the state of mind you're in. Are you sleeping enough? Are you getting, enough food? What's the fatigue level you're at? Those are going to cause reactions to be different. And then your personality and the capacities just in your life. What are you capable of doing? What are you not capable of doing? Are you going to react to something because when you went through the pipeline and you got to a point that maybe you're not capable of it? And then the second thing is your memory, your learned history and your beliefs. That's going to cause you to react a certain way. And then, your sensation and your cultural context also is going to play. Where in America, because of the culture that we have, we'll react differently maybe than somebody in Venezuela or Brazil or Japan or something else. In Japan, people are very polite in certain ways. In Canada, you said people are kind of polite there in certain ways. But how do they react to other things?
Oh, yeah.
So that's also something else that's going to create a reaction out of people.
Definitely. I just hope that the pendulum can swing in a different way, that we can, and I know that it's not going to be easy, and I don't think this is factual, but we were talking about, over-reliance on technology and super short attention spans and all that stuff. I just hope that there's a way we can get away from algorithms and social media and all that stuff, but I just know that it's not going to be easy. I've been trying really hard to stay away from it, and I've been doing a lot better now than I have in the past, and which I know has its own pros and cons and whatever. But I just hope that there's a way we can swing back around from that.
Well, one of the things that is happening today, and like Jason said earlier, was the emotions, how the older generations, the boomers, their certain emotions were a certain way, and these young kids today, they're a little bit more free with their emotions than we were, to the point of where I can sit there and doom scroll for hours watching these people react to how they react to the police. These young kids today screaming and hollering, and it's crazy. But emotions aren't always the enemy. Emotions were designed at one point in time that helped civilize us. They were about needs and goals. Fear protected you. Anger sometimes set boundaries. Sadness was for loss and repair. And joy was for approach and engagement. And how does that happen? Well, your body kind of works together. And we've discussed this in the past. Your body is basically a pharmacy. And
Yeah,
it produces
is.
dopamine. It produces things in your body. Talking with what was it, Troy, on one episode when I did that cold freeze thing for 3.5 minutes, and what the body does and change things. Well, your body readies you. It's your heart rate, your muscle tone, your attention, which can be useful if it's matched in the right situation, and costly if it's miscalibrated.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is the stimuli coming in and what you're ready for. What are you mentally capable of? Well, as this is a generational show, what Jason said, us old people, we believe we're mentally capable of handling a lot more than these young people today. And when you just look at how people are in the world today, these young people, I kind of agree with that. I hate to be maybe today is the day I'll be the one that offends everybody.
I doubt it.
But when you look at it, these young people today are not mentally capable of handling a lot.
Right. But I think it's also, I think some of the stuff I'm talking about is more ubiquitous across generations, like over-reliance on social media, chat GPT stuff. Like, that's not something that's just one generation that's focusing on that. Like, I'm noticing it, like, it's across the spectrum. It's people in society, regardless of age, like having an over-reliance on social media. There's people that I know that are in an older age bracket that I think have a real addiction to Facebook, and it's an unhealthy addiction, and it's like something they need to, like, I don't think they see that, but it's like, there's something going on there. Whereas, like, for my generation, it may be more Instagram or something else like that. Or, again, younger generations, maybe TikTok. But I think even TikTok right now, I think, is ubiquitous. I think regardless of generation, I think TikTok has a way of sucking everybody in. And
you see, that's why I don't classify them individually. I just say electronics addiction.
Correct.
Yep.
Complete electronics addiction, because that's what it is. It all stems from this phone, this pad, and that computer.
But it's these algorithms that have such a hold on your attention, that have they know how to trigger that reaction. That
you're promoting, or I should say, you're getting that dopamine response is what and that's a human thing. That's not like a generational thing. So that's the thing I'm more talking about, is like that. I hope that we can get to a place in the future where, well, I think
we can start to,
when these things became available to young people,
right.
Because for boomers and even for Xers, myself, I mean, boomers didn't really have tech. So, their brains develop differently.
No, we had to go outside and play in the heat and drink from the garden hose.
Right. Well, and then you get into Gen X, then you still have remnants of that, of going out and playing till dark and drinking out of the garden hose, and and not really having tech. Right. But we also remember it coming in with the Atari and then television and all these things. So we were the arcade generation.
We were told no. We were told you can watch cartoons Saturday morning for an hour, and that was it.
And
when the Atari came out, you got 30 minutes to play after school if your grades were good. Now, that's not how that works now.
Well, and also, again, like I said, like I'm also in this middle generation as well, where all the things you're talking about, I experienced as well. But there was this transition where, like, there were kids that, grew up with more than I had.
Exactly.
Your mom didn't play. That's why.
Well, but you're right, though. But at the same time, I think, like, I'm in this weird middle ground where, like, I remember the younger brothers of my friends not experiencing some of those things. So, like, I'm in this interesting, weird space.
You were the oldest. You were the one they made all their mistakes on.
100%.
And then they learned from that.
Right, exactly, correct.
I'm just playing.
No, but the funny thing is, my mom has made the same joke where she's like, I learned all my mistakes on him, and she had two.
That's what happens.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is, like, so for me, like, I hear what you guys are saying, and I'm like, I'm in the same boat where it's like, I remember all that. I remember I remember having dial-up internet. I remember not being able to access the internet without cutting off the phone line, or not having fast internet, and, like, all that stuff. And so I'm in this weird space now where, like, all this new tech is such a. I I'm getting caught up in the addiction of it just like everyone else is, but I'm having like a weird perception of it all where I'm like, this is not okay, and I need to like step back.
But you see,
whereas I think younger people are not having that reaction.
I remember you talking about this, and you're very deliberate in that I'm not going to be addicted to this, so I'm not going to participate in this same realm. You're very there's a word I'm looking for. Crap, this brain damage is kicking my ass. But I'll use the word deliberate. You are deliberate. You said, I'm not going to allow this to affect me this way.
Because it already did, I think is the thing.
Okay.
So like there was a moment in my like early teen years where I started realizing that I was like, I'm getting super hooked on this social media, and it started affecting the way I looked at myself, or my perception of the world, and all the things everyone else is having. Where like people will say like social media is not real, but then people will still judge their appearance based off of people they see on social media, or their outlook on how much they travel, whatever. You insert your situation here. I was having that same thing in like my late teens, early 20s, and was like, this doesn't feel real. And that was when I decided to make like some pretty deliberate, like you're saying, changes where I was like, I gotta, and I'm not perfect, but by no means. I still get moments where I doom scroll on Instagram. It's just, I think it's something that happens, and it is part of the modern world. But the point I think I'm trying to come across with all this is that I think that there are younger people that I think that have been like born with this and in this space, that I think are having a harder time realizing that it's a problem. I could be wrong, and I could be speaking generally, but even like it could be across the board, across all generations that are having this issue. But that's the thing I'm talking about, is like being able to realize the issue and naming it as an issue and then trying to work towards bettering it is what I'm talking about. And that's one thing that I feel like I'm in this weird middle ground where like I remember when Instagram was starting up. I remember when Facebook was a new little thing, like, and not having it in my life and what that felt like. And then now when it's like, it's everywhere, it's all consuming. I'm like, man, and I'm not happier because of it.
Well, I mean, I just think it's now a platform for more people to put out abnormal behaviors and trying to make some of these things, things that in the past would have been considered abnormal. Now it's, well, you've got this or you got that and stuff and like that. So, I mean, it's...
I think, too, it's also... I remember and I think I've talked about this on an episode in the past, so forgive me for repeating myself. I remember when Instagram was like a photo sharing app.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Between friends. I could subscribe to I could follow my friends could follow me, we could post pictures, and I could see their week on my timeline and just like scroll through pictures of my friends or celebrities I thought were cool, and then my stuff would be on there as well. And it was a cool, fun little place to be. And now it's so commercialized. Now there's advertisements everywhere. Everyone is trying to make reels. Everyone's trying to make TikToks. Everyone's trying to make these like short form content that just like gets everyone's attention to try and be famous. And it's like, it just feels like this machine.
Well, Facebook was supposed to be for students only. You had to have a student ID because they were going to keep the pedos out of it, remember? Because there were so many pedos on this MySpace thing. They were going to try to protect the kids, and Facebook was going to be just for students alone. Well, that didn't last very long.
Well, there's no money to be made in that.
Oh, yeah.
Just relegating it to students.
Exactly. And it's the same thing we've talked about, I think, with like things as simple as Christmas. Right. Christmas was had such a beautiful thing back in history, and now it's so commercialized that it's like, is it even about true thing?
I stopped by the store today, and they're putting Christmas stuff up now.
100%.
Oh, I said that. I said that a couple
episodes
ago.
You've got to be kidding me! It's not even. We're not even close to Halloween yet.
Yep.
Yeah. I was in Costco 2 weeks ago, and there was a whole row of Christmas stuff.
Well, they're doing that on purpose,
of course,
to get people to think, start buying.
Start buying.
Yeah, start buying. Because
that's your reaction to it.
And people respond. They're thinking now, Christmas, I need to start buying Christmas gifts.
Yep.
And so you start spending more money. Yep. Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
The reaction thing has been commercialized a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
See, y'all not going to remember this, but I can remember when they used to do the subliminal stuff in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Our eyes see at 35 frames per second. One frame would be popcorn. One frame would be a drink. One frame would be a candy bar. And all of a sudden you go, man, you know what? I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm going to get me a Coke and some popcorn. You know what? Maybe I'll get me a candy bar while I'm at it. But that's your reaction to that stimuli.
And all I'm saying is that
I wonder if they still do that.
They
now.
do 100%.
Of course they do.
When I tell you, not in the aspects that you're talking about, but you want to talk about TikTok curating algorithms so perfectly to people. They know all of your information. They know all of what you like, all the little things that make you tick, all the things that make you want to buy something. They got it down to a science. And it is evolved. It is the same sort of stuff, but it is evolved now. How Temu and how Amazon makes everything feel so immediate, like you got to get this thing now. It's like it's all this stuff that's so curated, and it is.
But then look
manufactured.
how much Starbucks stock went up when that girl left the coffee cup in the Game of Thrones table.
Well, but that's a sensational thing. Like,
but that's part of reaction to stuff. That's
right.
part of reaction. Oh my gosh! Or how much does Pepsi or Coke or even cars today? You go watch your favorite movie, and they pay extra money for you to use their cars, or for the star to have a Coke in their hand, or something. That's a reaction. We're reacting to that. Those are the stimuli that are inside of us that build something on the inside. But that's why these little memes and pictures and stuff, they can generate so much of an emotional response. My favorite one right now on TikTok. Okay, we just had pretty much the first week of collegiate football, and Alabama lost. They were supposed to be playing for a national title. And my favorite little meme now is the little ASPC, in the arms of an angel. For 15 cents a day, you too can support an Alabama football fan, because they're crying and bitching and moaning because they lost. But those are those things that stir you on the inside.
Right.
And everybody learns how to do it. Your dog knows how to do it. It looks up at you with those little puppy dog eyes when you're eating, because it knows it's going to build that response in you, and it's going to go for the weakest person at the table.
Always.
And so who's going to be the weakest tonight? Yeah. And that's what all of these reactions to. We're reacting to certain stimuli that are around us. The new car smell.
Oh, yeah.
Jason said I remember somebody talking one day, they were being forced to sell their home.
I think we talked about this before.
Through bankruptcy or something.
Yeah.
And when you want to sell your home, you bake chocolate chip cookies in the oven. When you don't want to sell your home like you're being forced to, you burn popcorn in the microwave, because those smell reactors. Oh, no, I can't. Man, it smells like home in here. Wow, I want to buy this house. It smells like cookies.
Exactly.
But that's the responses that we're dealing with every day, all the time in our lives.
There's a very specific core memory of mine, of a certain location in a place that has a stall out front that sells like roasted pecans, roasted peanuts, almonds, or cashews, all different kinds of roasted nuts, and they're like cinnamon coated. So like there's this very specific memory of myself, for myself, that anytime I smell cinnamon sugar, or I smell that kind of like cinnamon roll, anything cinnamon sugar related, it just brings me back to that. So it's very true with what you're talking about, is it has this smells specifically have a very strong effect on your memory. And that's one thing that every time I get that smell of cinnamon roasted cashews or something, I'm like, oh man, that just brings me back. So yeah, that's
I had a conversation with Hottie Dr. Miranda the other day about, she's only seen me get mad once or twice. I don't get mad.
Right.
I don't get mad. I don't let that emotion rule my life. As former protective services, you can't do that, because you're living with all of these stimuli that you see, you're feeling, you smell, you touch everything that's happening for you to protect this person that you're with.
Right.
And I think she actually came to the realization that the only time I get mad when somebody in her life is treating her poorly.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
And most people don't understand. I'm a peaceful person.
Right.
You touch her,
Uh-uh.
I'm going to bury you.
That's the same thing I've felt.
I'm going to bury you. I'm going to put so many levels of pain on your life for touching my hottie doctor. But that's a reaction to that stimuli too. You leave her alone, I don't care what you do. Right. What a man has to do to provide for his family, I don't care what you do.
I've said the same thing about my younger brothers. I've had 2 younger brothers, and I never usually ever get violent. I will never get super upset or angry. But the times that it has happened was when someone was like picking on my brother. And it's like, that's my job. I get to pick on my brother, not you.
That's right.
So I get to,
because there's no relationship
exactly,
there.
Right.
You know,
right. The second someone else is picking on my brother, I'm like, excuse me, that's my job. So, anyways,
but you see, that's one of the things too. I love how you said that, because that's true. But that's also one of the things that the other countries of this world has realized about America. Okay, we may fight amongst ourselves.
Oh yeah,
but don't you dare!
Right.
Don't you dare mess
typical.
with. I don't care what color, what race, whatever. That's an American. That's my. I can mess with him, but you can't.
Right.
The minute you put your hands on him, I'm gonna mess you up, or her, or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? Right. How many times in war have they found that 100%. Out? You know, and that's
your tribe.
That's my tribe.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all tribal. It always goes back to that.
Yeah.
You know. You bond with a certain group of people, and
I think it's anything. It's anything when you get a community of people around. There's a lot of times
there's always going to be infighting.
There's always frustrations, and but like you said, the second there's exterior trauma or some sort of friction, I think it's when they all band together. But I thought this was a really cool conversation.
Yeah,
it's really
pretty interesting. Yeah, actually. There's a lot of studies out there on this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Lots of studies, auditory, emotional, cognitive. I mean, they got them all.
We could have went down a whole bunch of rabbit holes with this. I'm kind of, as Jason says, or was it you who said 10,000
I think both you guys have said it.
Okay. Yeah, I said we generally approach these topics from a macro or a 10,000 foot kind of view.
This was fun, and if y'all want us to, let us know, because this might be worth diving into a little deeper. Let us know kind of the direction you want us to go, because it's so vast.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of different
so vast. Y'all could help us on this one. If you want us to go a little bit further in this, kind of tell us a direction you would like to see, or if you're curious about a certain avenue or process, let us know.
Right.
Let us know how you react to things, too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have comment sections on Spotify and YouTube and all the different platforms in which you guys listen to us on. Be sure to like and subscribe or engage, react, wink, wink, however you can on whatever platform you listen to. We try to keep an eye out for all of those. We also have an email address, gettinfinitetogether@gmail.com, where you can send us more long-form responses if you want, or the website.
Yes, retrospectpodcast.com.
And until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
Keep your reflex. Upgrade your response. Tonight, make yourself a quiet promise. I'll give people my second reaction, not my first. Count to 5. Name what you feel, and then choose the move that serves your values, not your adrenaline. Do it 3 times this week, and watch how many fires never start. Your reflex is history. Your response is authorship. What story will you write next? We appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for joining us this week. You're the best. Peace.